Members, it's Kyle. It's 12:36, November 29th. Hopefully everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Let's go over the general markets first before we dive into our current open positions and then our watch list. To start, what we're looking at here is the Dow. Weakness Friday, which, frankly wasn't too surprising, but the overall trend here is still bullish. In the short term, I'm still pretty neutral. And the reason being is this most recent bounce off the 200-day moving average. It didn't break the high from the prior leg. So what I mean by that is, you had an obvious reversal here. First leg up, second leg down, huge leg up, next leg down. That next leg or the fifth leg of this change in trend should have broken that 1797.7 level. And it didn't. We're forming a flag here if you take the lows and then the highs here. But frankly, I think we're going to probably trade sideways for a little bit. If you want to look at the general pattern and look at really the larger picture here, what you can see is, there's a lot of consolidation in this level between 17.6 and 18.20. So I'm not really surprised to see that we're going to really kind of settle sideways here for a little bit. The SPX or the S&P 500 tells a similar story. We didn't break the prior highs, meaning, the 2100 to 2107 range. And I think we're going to trade sideways here. What's very interesting, though, is that the Russell, which is always going to trade a little bit different than the major indices, finally broke and held the 200-day moving average. That said, of the last 7 trading days, I think 6 of those were all positive. So I really think this is going to probably pull back and hopefully hold the 200-day moving average. This would be a key indicator right here if we do hold that and hopefully baseline and then continue to trade higher through the end of the year for the rest of December. So overall, I think we're more or less still in a bull trend for the long term. The short term, I'm still a little bit hesitant to say, we're back in the full swing of things where we were for the, full 2014 and 2015 years, at least in the beginning of 2015. But going into our positions, we're in a lot of open swing trades right now. So I want to kind of play everything a little bit hesitant, just in the sense that I don't want to be too overextended. And we're, right now I think we're in about 7 to 8 positions. So it's something where I'm obviously going to be cautious with opening a new position until we close an existing one. And I think we have a decent amount of, profitable trades right now, specifically in GPI. But let's get right into it. ZXI or ZIXI, we had a nice breakout here in terms of this cup and handle pattern. We broke this level here. And one thing I was looking at was really, we're going to hold that breakout. So we waited for the pullback. We went long. And right now we're seeing this consolidate, right around the 5.4 to 5.7 range. If we zoom out a little bit, we can see there's not much resistance really here, dating all the way back to, I think, until this stock went public. I'm not going to go back on the weekly, but more or less what you can see here is we're going to hold this, hopefully, and then continue to trade sideways, kind of level off a little bit, and then hopefully continue to trade higher to 6, which is our current target. But as I said, we wanted to hold this level of 546, and we did. So that's a positive indicator, and it's a trend that I think we're going to make a decent amount of money on for the short term. TTI is one that, got completely battered. We waited for the 200-day moving average to confirm. I actually got in this late. I entered my watch list right around this level on the 200-day moving average. We didn't get in until, I think, 7 or 8, I think 50 to 870s. So we're sitting on a little bit of profit right now. If we want to zoom in a little bit, what we can see is that there's definitely some selling pressure here right around this level, which again is expected because obviously from a, saw a nice consolidation to form a nice ascending triangle pattern here. It's not really a surprise. You're going to see some selling at the 9 range, but our initial target is 950, which would be the top of this consolidation pattern here. So that's where we'll start to take some profits, but another winner for the time being. One other one that we opened a small position in, and this one's killing me because I wish we went long right when I opened up or added this to the watch list, but I couldn't pull the trigger because of the 200-day moving average. But we went long here. We're actually sitting at a loss for the time being. And I did what I normally should never do, and then I chased this stock. Like I said, it added to the watch list right around this level. I expected it to hit this and pull back where we would go long, but Thursday it just completely rallied. I actually have a few members who, when they saw this on the watch list, opened up small positions. So congrats to you guys. I got emails from a few people. So congrats, you're sitting on like a 30 to 40% return. We went long too early. What I should have done is waited for the midpoint of this candle, then basically go long in there, which is what we do time and time again. I didn't. We went long in the 490 range, I think. So we're sitting on a little bit of a loss, but what's positive is we're a few things. For starters, you're seeing it hold this point, which obviously is a nice level of support. And as I always teach, it's the midpoint of the large breakout candle. So, this broke out on several different fronts. It broke out through this resistance. It broke through the 200-day moving average. Again, it's only a matter of time before you're going to see profit taking. That's exactly really what happened. The good thing is that it was on pretty low volume compared to the breakout candle. So, I think this trade sideways, frankly, might even trade down a little bit. But if anything, we may add to this in the hopes that we can fill the gap to 6, which would be a huge return. And frankly, I think the gap's even a little higher. Yeah, 676, 674 is what we're looking for. So good trade so far. Congrats to any of you who did get in that. Like I said, that's a pretty good trade for a day. So I'm going to watch that closely. Obviously, we're sitting on, I think, a 8 to 9% loss. So let's see how that trades and opens up tomorrow. So NGPI, we've added to this twice. Right now, from the initial alert, we are up, I think, 19.5%. It's been a beautiful trade. It's been a beautiful bounce off the 200-day moving average. And now we finally broke out Friday. Or Thursday, and then Friday we saw a nice continuation. So if we want to zoom out, we can see that, this is definitely an all-time high for the last year and a half, 2 years. What I really think this is a nice cup and handle pattern to where you're going to see the cup, the handle is going to trade sideways, and you're going to see a continuation. I think this sees 20. I think it sees 20 by year end. So it's going to be a longer term hold. We might just take a little bit of profits and take some off the table this week. Another one is ACXM, which is a similar setup in terms of the logic of why we got in this. It broke through the 200-day moving average very strong after earnings, pulled back, and then we went long right around the 20 range. So really this is it's trading perfectly, exactly how I expected it to trade. I think in the longer term, this sees 25, but we'll probably start to take a little bit of profit in the 23 range. But right now it's another positive winner. I think we're 2 to 250 a share up on this from our initial alert, and we have added to it since that initial alert. So congrats to anyone who's in that position as well. What else do we have? We have Crown, which was a monster winner for us. I think we had 27%. This continues to surprise me. The pullbacks here were bought right into, which frankly I think these were just the market maker taking out stops, which is why we really just use mental stops here. That's just shady stuff that you really shouldn't see where, in really low volume, you're going to see a stock trade all the way down. When you see that and it's on low volume, really what that is just the market maker taking out stops and just saying, okay, well, I see the bid there. Let me bring down the ask all the way down, take it out, and move it back up. Just somewhat shady, but it happens. I've got burned on that several times, and it's one of the main reasons I don't use mental stops, which is risky, but it's just a strategy that I've been successful with. What we are seeing here is a consolidation around the 13 and 20 EMA. So right now, the 20 EMA. What I think is going to happen here, it's going to continue to trade sideways. You're going to see the EMAs consolidate, and then we should see 6 plus, hopefully by year end. But again, we've already locked in 25% in this. So, the rest is really all gravy from our initial position. EMKR is one of my favorite positions. It's one of my larger ones for the time being. It's one that also, similar to Crown, has traded very well over the last couple months. We went long right around the midpoint here of this large candle. I think 704 was the actual range. And then really just watch this trade along the EMAs. So again, I think it's something that you're going to see selling pressure right now, but it's making higher lows day over day. So as long as that trend continues, the EMAs are all pointing up, which is definitely bullish. The initial target for us is 8 to 850. One thing that is very interesting to look at, and I've alluded to this a few times, is if you pull back and look at the overall trend for the weekly, this is definitely a reversal story for sure. And I think it's just in the beginning phases of, getting back to a level it was, back in 2011, 2012, to where we could see 9 to 10. Right now, if you look at it, it's really a matter of breaking the highs from about a month ago. So that's right around 749. If we break 749, I think this sees 8 plus really quickly. And you can see that we're starting to test that. So, these two levels saw some selling pressure. But again, once we break that level and you just see, more buyers coming in, I think we're going to see a nice push to 8 plus. So another solid position for us. I think that's all the open swing alerts. We have SD, which again, I'm not really going to dive into the technicals because this is more of a fundamental call option on crude. But, we are definitely still interested in this position solely because it's something that I think crude bounces back. I've been saying this a few times over the last couple of weeks, but I think we're going to have to just be patient with this. One thing that is bullish is that it is holding the all-time low. So it's just, I'm hoping OPEC, who does meet next week, releases some form of news fundamentally to where they start to cut production. Obviously, they're not really incentivized to do that, but I think it's more of a macro story here for the E&P sector, to where these E&P story stocks are hopefully going to see a nice bounce. Once we start to see a tip in production, we're starting to see that. If you dive into the numbers, you're starting to see a lot of the rig counts in the U.S. tip over and starting to see a nice decline there. And the IEA is obviously reporting a decrease in production or in inventories, both in crude and natural gas now. It's just a matter of that getting to the point to where, supply can't keep up with demand, and then you'll see the prices in oil hopefully bounce back. Again, fundamentally with Sandridge, they just bought, I think in cash, another acquisition for 150 to 190 million, I think. They're delevering their balance sheet. They still have some hedges for 2016 on. So I think it's risky, obviously, and it's something that I think we're going to have to just continue to be patient with. We'll see how this plays out over the next couple months. For those who are in this, from the beginning, I said this was going to be a 12 to 18 month hold. So that time frame and time horizon still really holds. So again, we're going to be patient with this, but the rest of our positions look great in terms of our swings. We already have some nice winners in the bag. It's just a matter of closing those out. The one thing that I think from a watch list standpoint, I'm going to run the scans right now for members in the next couple minutes, but TTI is something that I want to look to add to. I want to see what happens Monday and Tuesday as this seller and these sellers, I should say, hopefully die off and we start to see some more buyers come in. But right now, the one thing I would look for is really to hold, two levels, really that level there where you saw a few closes, and then the low of that, which would be right in there. So those two levels were significant levels of both selling pressure and buying pressure. So let's see how that holds. If we hold that channel, we may look to add this coming week. I'll have more watch list stocks in the next couple minutes, and I'll post those to the dashboard for members. Hopefully everyone's having a great day. And if you have any questions, please shoot me a call or an email, I should say. Talk soon, guys.